Today's lesson is on 1.2 ways of being paid for work. So, this is the warm up that you've been asked to complete independently before watching this recording. It's blank here, but if you reference the filled in copy of this lesson, you'll find the answers just to reference the answers that you've written down. So I'm going to start my lesson here on the next page, ways of being paid. So there are different ways of being paid for work. So you can get paid via salary, which means that that's the amount of money that you're going to earn throughout the whole year. The wage, if you get paid via wage, it's the amount of money earned per hour. Piecework is the amount of money per unit of work. And commission is a percent of the dollar amount you sell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to question number 5 for a second, just so that we fully understand these different terms. So again, a salary is an amount of money earned per year. So that means that you know how much money you're going to earn throughout the entire calendar year before you start work. Okay. So an example of an occupation that works by salary is a teacher. A teacher knows how much money that they are going to earn for the entire calendar year before they begin work. Okay, so no matter how much overtime a teacher does, like how many extracurriculars they teach or participate in, they're still going to get paid the same amount. Okay, now the next term is wage. So it's the amount of money per hour. Okay, so this means that somebody gets paid for how many hours that they work. So an example of this is an electrician or any other trade. They usually get paid per hour. Okay, so if you work 4 hours in a day, you only get paid for those 4 hours. If you work 8 hours a day, you get paid for those 8 hours only. Okay, and then piecework is the amount of money per unit of work. This means that you only get paid if you sell something. Okay, if you don't sell anything, you don't get any money. So no matter how long it takes you to sell something, you're only going to get paid once that item is sold. So an example of this is a real estate agent. Okay, so when someone decides to sell their house or buy a house, they hire a real estate agent. So the real estate agent gets paid once that house is either purchased or sold, depending on if who they're representing, the buyer or the seller. Okay, so if it takes 6 months to sell a house, that real estate agent has to work 6 months until they get paid. If it takes a week to sell a house, that real estate agent gets paid after just a week of work. Okay, and then commission is a percent of the dollar amount that you sell. Then commission is a percent of the dollar amount that you sell. An example of this is like a sales associate. So someone who works at a store who's helping you shop, they're going to try to get you to buy as much as possible because they get a certain percentage off of how much you buy. So if you buy $50 worth of, let's say, clothing, they get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% of that. If you buy $1,000 worth of clothing, they get a percent of that too. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5%. That's usually the average commission percentage that they get. So let's go back to this chart up here. So salary, again, salary means an annual pay. So you know how much you're going to get paid for the entire year. Okay, so I'm going to look at the word per year. Okay, it's when I'm matching here. So salary means per year. So then this matches up. So you're going to get $35,000 for the entire year no matter how much or how little work you do. Okay, next is wage. So this is the one that's per hour. So per hour is what I'm looking for here to match this up. So $14 an hour. So you only get paid for how many hours you work. Okay. Next is piecework. So this is only if you sell an item do you get money. So per crate. So $12 per crate. Okay. And finally, commission. This means that you get a certain percentage off of sales. So 5% of sales. Okay. So let's look at an example here. So Mosin is interested in obtaining experience as a salesperson in an electronics store. There are 2 stores currently advertising for salespeople. So Big Box Electrics requires person for computer department, $12 an hour, no commission. Okay, so there's no commission, it's only an hourly rate. Okay, now to the right of it, it says love to help customers. Electronics Depot is looking for energetic people to work in sales. So this one doesn't say anything about commission, anything about wage. So Big Box Electrics is wage only, $12 an hour. So let's look at these bullets underneath just to get some more information. Mosin visits Big Box Electrics and is told that he can expect full-time work ranging from 35 to 45 hours per week. Okay, so Big Box Electrics, remember, is the one that's paying $12 an hour. So Mosin is going to expect 35 to 45 hours per week. Now, Electrics Depot, oh, here it says 4% commission. Their best salespeople average $80,000 per sale per month in sales per month. So here they're only getting paid on commission. Okay. So the first one, Big Box Electrics, is wage only, and Electrics Depot, the second option, is commission only. So calculate the range of gross pay per week that is possible at Big Box Electrics. So Big Box Electrics, remember, is the first option, which is the wage option. Okay. So how much Mosin make if they work 35 hours a week at Big Box Electric? Now remember, it says that it's $12 an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my $12 an hour and I'm going to multiply it by 35 hours. Okay. And using a calculator, 12 times 35 is $420. Now, $12 an hour at 45 hours in a week. 12 times 45, that's $540. Okay, so Mosin, if he picks Big Box Electrics, he could get paid between $420 and $540 a week. Now, number 7 is asking us to complete the table below showing the commissions for Electrics Depot. So this is the commission option, which is 4% commission. So if Mosin doesn't sell anything, he's not making any money. No sales, no earnings. What if he makes 5,000 sales? So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 5,000, we're going to multiply it by 4%. But we're not going to multiply by the percentage. We're going to multiply by the decimal form of 4%, which is $200. Next, if he sells $10,000 worth of items, we're going to multiply that by the decimal form of 4%. That means that he's going to make $400 that week. Okay, and I'm going to continue to complete this with the different options of sales for 1 week, and we're going to see how much he's going to make for that 1 week in earnings. So depending on how many items he sells in that week, it could really range how much money he can make, from $0 to $1,000. So number 8 is asking, what criteria should Mosin consider before accepting one of the jobs? Well, I would say, well, how much is he going to actually sell, right? So if he's working on wage, he can make up to $540 in a week. Okay. So, and if he's on commission, he can make as little as $0 or as much as $1,000. So I would say Mohsen should pick this commission option if he's going to sell more than this amount of money. If he's going to sell $15,000 of items or merchandise or more, then he's going to make more money if he works for Electric Depot. But if he's going to sell less merch per week, then it's actually worth it for him to choose the option of working at Big Box Electric because he will make more on wage. So I'm going to write that down. So explain your thinking. We did that in our question A answer, so we don't have to answer that one. Number 9, what questions might he ask the store manager at Electric Depot if he's offered the sales position? If he's going to go to Electric Depot, now remember that's the commission option. My question to my employer is, when am I going to be scheduled for work? Is it going to be at is it going to be on a Monday morning when no one's shopping, or is it going to be on a Saturday afternoon when everyone's out and about shopping? Right? You're going to make more money when there's more people in the store shopping. So my question to the manager of the Electric Depot is, when are my shifts going to be? If my shifts are going to be during the down times of the week, then it's probably better to work on a wage. But if all your shifts are going to be in the evenings and weekends when more people are shopping, then I think you're going to make more money via commission at Electric Depot. Okay, moving on. So a pay schedule is the schedule of when you get paid. Sales period is the period of time in which your sales are counted, and commission is calculated for your pay. So here, Ali is a salesperson at Electric Depot. He earns 4% commission and had the following sales amount in December and in January. So December 1st to the 15th, his sales were, he sold $61,950 worth of merchandise. So to calculate his 4% commission, you're going to take how much of his sales, which is $61,950, you're going to multiply it by 4%. Now remember though, you need to convert this to decimal form. Okay, so 61,950 times 0.04. And when you put that in your calculator, you're going to get $2,478. Now, between December 16th and the 31st, he sold $47,570 worth of merchandise. So we're going to take that $47,570, and again, we're going to multiply it by the decimal form of 4%. Which, when you type it in your calculator, you should get $1,902.80. So to figure out the total December earnings, you're going to take your earnings for the first half of the month and add it to the earnings of your second half of the month. So $2,478 plus $1,902.80. And again, using your calculator, adding these up, $4,380.80 is how much Ali earned in December. Now in January, he sold $18,040 worth of sales. So we're going to take that $18,040 and multiply it by the decimal form of 4%. And using your calculator, $721.60. And the second half of January, $13,820 is the amount of merch he sold. We're going to multiply that by the decimal form of 4%. And using your calculator, you should get $552.80. So to figure out his total January earnings, you're going to take his two earnings and add them together. $1,274.40. Why might Ali's December income be so different from his January income? So in December, Ali made $4,000, $4,380.80. And in January, he made just over $1,000, so $1,274.40. So why might in December he made way more money than in January in commissions? Well, that's because in December, Christmas falls in December, right? So a lot of people are buying items in December. In January, everybody kind of takes a break from buying items. So he made a lot more money, 4 times the amount in December, because it was probably Christmas. So it's like that Christmas rush, everyone's buying items for gifts. Almost done. Now, on this last page, Ali is paid on the Friday after the end of each sales period. So we're going to circle the days that he's getting paid. So the sales period, the first one was, let me get a different color, December 1st to the 15th. Okay. So he worked from December 1st to the 15th. Now it's saying that he gets paid on the Friday after the end of each sales period. So the sales period ends on the 15th. So the Friday after that sales period is actually the day after, the 16th. So that's when he gets paid. Let's look at the next sales period. Let's check. Let's pick this color. So December 16th to the 31st. So December 16th to the 31st. So he's going to get paid the Friday after the 31st. So the 31st is a Saturday. So he's not going to get paid until a week later on January 6th, which is the next Friday. Okay, let's look at the next sales period. January 1st to 15th. January 1st to the 15th. Okay, so it ends on a Sunday. So the Friday after he's going to get paid. Okay, and then finally, 16th to the 31st. 16th to the 31st. So 31st is a Tuesday, a Wednesday is here, Thursday, Friday. So those are his 4 Fridays that he's going to get paid. So how might the pay schedule at Electronics Depot affect Ali's spending habits? Well, he's not getting paid every week. He really needs to spend consciously. So he can't, as soon as he gets his paycheck, he can't spend it all because he has to last 2, maybe even 3 weeks before his next pay. So he really needs to be conscious about how much is in his bank account and spend just a little bit at a time to make sure that there's still money in his bank account to last him to the next pay day. Okay, last question. Ali's best friend Brian works in a men's clothing store. He earns a base salary or a minimum salary of $350 per week. His commission is 5% on all sales. Calculate Brian's total weekly income for the following sales amounts. So this guy, Brian, he makes $350 per week, no matter how many sales he makes or doesn't make. So if he doesn't sell any clothing, he still gets $350 per week. But depending on how many items of clothing he sells, he gets a commission of 5% on top of it. Okay, so he's getting paid 2 ways: $350 per week, and then 5% on all sales. So his commissions, okay, is $1,000. So we're going to multiply that by 5%, okay, which is, remember, we're multiplying it by 0.05, the decimal form of 5%. So 1,000 times 0.05 is $50. Now we're going to add that $50 in commissions for that week we're going to add his $350 of his base salary. So this is kind of a guarantee. He always gets $350 no matter how much he sells. So 50 plus 350 is $400. So he got paid $400 that week. The next week, he sells $2,000 worth of merch or clothing. So 2,000 times 5%. Now remember, that's decimal form. So that's $100 in commission plus his $350 base salary, which is $450 total that week. Okay, $3,000 the next week times our 5% or 0.05 is equal to $150 plus base $350, that is equal to $500 for that week. And finally, $4,000 times 0.05 is equal to $200 plus base of $350 is equal to $550 that week. Okay, so that was a lot. This last page I want you to complete by yourself. Okay, this is sort of a consolidation just to make sure that you fully understand what we've learned today. Okay, these are just a couple of extra questions on what we've learned. Okay, I'm available if you have any questions about this last page or just generally this whole lesson. Don't forget to complete today's quiz after you've completed this consolidation last page here. Okay, message me if you have any questions.